I don't see it yet. Okay. All right. Let me know when I get it. Yep, I see it. Yeah, yeah. This is gonna be fun. Um, I haven't did a Facebook Live in like what 4 years, like 4.5 years. No better time than the present, because nothing's big has happened in our country in the last 48 hours. This is gonna be fun. And just for the record, anybody that's just joining, I'm gonna set a couple ground rules. This is not gonna be a hate filled rant. This isn't gonna be none of that. I'm just sharing my reflections on our communities. I just want to share a little thoughts. I've been talking to people nonstop since about Tuesday at 6 a.m., like when the polls first opened. But I want to make it less about the presidential election and more about the local elections and why I feel people are so disengaged in the local elections. There's various reasons why I feel like people are disengaged. But this isn't a monologue just from Juan himself. This is let's see, 20 years of firsthand experience in our communities, whether it's working at a community center, working in the schools, being a resident in those communities, coaching my kids' sports teams in those communities, having a business in those communities and producing certain events. I feel like a lot of people are feel like they're overlooked. Like no one calls them or no one talks to them. I want to go right to the demographic of the 18 to 24-year olds, right? Every year there's a big get out to vote push, right? Like, hey, first time voters, or you wasn't old enough in the last cycle, so now we really need you. We need you to come save our butts. Because if you guys don't engage in the political process, we're not gonna win. So, my first question to all the folks who are in positions of power, who every cycle we say, like the Uncle Sam commercial or the picture, we need you, like type of thing. Why do you feel 18 to 24-year olds should show up for you at the ballot box on those issues that are near and dear to your heart when we repeatedly fail to show up for them? Now, here's why I feel qualified to say that. And send the hate mail to your mom, not to me, because I'm just going to say it. We don't show up for them in our communities. Um, there's more drug rehab facilities and halfway houses in certain communities than there are community centers for these said babies. And then now you want them to vote to save the funding for those said halfway houses and stuff. We don't show up for them. Now, I kind of got away. I really want to start by saying black women, especially the black women. My wife's a black woman. I have two black daughters. My mom's black. And I want to start by saying it's okay to feel how you're feeling. And everyone in their professional life has went through what we saw on Tuesday. You have all the qualifications. You've worked at a company for 30 years. The CEO is stepping down, and you're like, yes, it's my turn. They're finally going to turn the keys over to me. But then there's a board full of, men who get to vote on your promotion, and they say, not so fast. So you feel rejected, and it's not the first time we've seen this. And sadly, it's not going to be the last time we're going to see this. So don't let nobody at work tell you tripping or you emotional or you need to get over it. It's like, how am I going to get over something that I feel every day? And to the allies out there, quote unquote, or paper, we don't need allies in private. Put your name on it and says, yo, and I'm not talking about the election no more. I'm talking about in the boardroom. When you see this sister get overlooked, y'all not gonna say nothing because it's not happening to you because you still got your 3% raise. And it takes me to another point. Like in Cleveland a few months ago, the eyes of the women's sports world was on us, and it was all everyone watches women's sports. Pay them like you pay the men. Well, you do know those things coincide with what happens to black women all the time. It's like, hey, you can't expect to get your fair share when the system is controlled by 97% men who feel like, hey, you good but not good enough because you guys are too emotional and you get mad, you having a bad day, and we're gonna get in trouble. So it all coincides. So and black women have raised 99% of all the black men that I know. So it kind of hurt my feelings. I don't care about politics on it because the election that's passed, this is a microcosm of the boardroom, the communities, the grocery stores, business loans, and all those things. We don't support women. We don't. Um, my favorite line from my favorite rapper, Tupac, since we got our name from a woman. Y'all know the song. But when it's time to stand up for him, I don't think we do. But it makes me go back to my point of our communities and how we don't show up for them locally, but you want them to show up for them nationally. So the get out to vote rallies since July, we've had 9,748 of them, right? How many effective get out to vote rallies? We're on 30th and Woodland. Yeah, it was on 30th and Euclid, but that wasn't for, and I'm saying this lovingly, it wasn't for Ray Ray and Man Man them. There's courtyards in every public housing in Northeast Ohio. We too scared to go there? And it ain't about a vote. It's about, hey, how can we help your community? How can we help your grandmother? Or why don't you feel safe walking to the corner store? Or why don't you feel safe going 4 blocks over to another hood? Because those things coincide with when it's time to ramp up the ecosystem for national elections. people don't care nothing about what you say. They care about how you make them feel. And these kids have memories like elephants. Would you support you? You represent everything that they've ever had to go through in their life. You guys represent everything that they had to deal with in the community. Promises, yeah, we're gonna do this. And then when it's time to do it, we tell them that, ooh, my hands are tied. But next time I got you. But if you do this for me, I got you. We gotta take a hard look at ourselves and say, okay, control the controllables. Um, there were two issues that passed in Cuyahoga County and in the city of Cleveland. And I feel like no one has mentioned those since Tuesday because we're all doom and gloom about what may have happened on the national election and what may have happened that's going to affect 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. But me, as a dad with two girls, one that's 10, one that's 5, a host of little cousins, thousands of kids that I've worked with and I see in the community. The levy, and I'm a proud Cleveland public school whose now is called CMSD. I am a proud Cleveland public school graduate. So anytime that I see a levy is passed and the community said, yes, we'll give you some more money to continuing to educate our babies. I want to champion that, like, because hey, y'all, control the controllables. These are things that are right in front of us. But now it's time for the community to be an active participant in this. We did the first step and we passed the levy. Now, here's the accountability part. We have to make sure our babies continue to get their fair share. Like now they got the money. It shouldn't be no more sharing textbooks. I don't know if they still share textbooks. I don't like going into school and it doesn't feel like this is a place for learning. So we got to make sure that the resources that and there's nothing wrong with asking a question. And if they don't want to give you the answer, you keep asking it and you demand it because these are our babies. Because guess what? In a couple years, we're gonna be doing a get out the vote rally and all that. And you're gonna need Ray and Man and Junior and them to vote for this thing, and they're gonna be like, man, y'all lied to us last time and da 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 da. That's a real thing. Like that's a real thing. Like folks want to know, are you gonna do what you said? And then if you pan out to the whole Cuyahoga County, issue 55 passed, right? So there's gonna be funding for arts and culture and education. Where's that money going? Are we getting our fair share? Are kids learning once they leave the schools coming into this community center? My kids go to the library every day after school, and it's more than just reading books that's happening at the library. They got studios, they got programs, they got tutoring and everything. Like, that's how you really continue to control the controllables. And politics is local, it's always been local. But we switch it to this national populist phenomenon. Like, take care of your community. Those judges, we got websites, judge for yourself and all that. No, public records request. How many of these judges that's on the bench for the same crimes has given certain people probation and some certain people 100 years? Folks, those are the real issues that's going to affect your bottom line every day. Don't feel like you're not allowed to be hurt and mourn and grieve. And know that when you're talking to people, like there's a difference between effective conversation and then we're about to start a fight tomorrow. Then it's talking and gossiping. Like, are you having constructive, effective communication to be like, yo, my feelings are hurt. Here's why. How can I support this? But to kind of not turn this into a monologue is you gotta show up for these babies when it comes to their education. Gotta have some accountability when we miss the mark on reaching these babies. Crime in Cleveland didn't just start happening. You know, the same fathers who are older than me now got grandkids running the streets, but back in y'all day, y'all were drugs, gangsters, and all that. The chickens come home to roost in many fashions. Like now, your kids is hitting people over the head, and all you want to do is sit at the lake and don't know why your car getting broken into. It's like, yo, this stuff builds up and have ramifications 20, 30 years to come. And this is to everybody. Like you have to stay engaged. You have to be a part of the process. Like you could be mad, yes, because I'm mad too. I'm mad that only 60% of the population got engaged in it. But I'm also mad at the people who are in charge of getting folks engaged. Don't listen to why folks aren't getting engaged. So I'm not mad at the folks that didn't vote. I'm mad at the folks that didn't listen to the folks who were telling them why they weren't voting. Or they probably didn't listen to them telling them because they never spent the time to go and ask them why. So they shouldn't come save you if you don't come through on your promises that we said for them. So we talk about the community don't take any accountability, but the community that you needed to bail them out are holding you accountable and making you say you're gonna do what you're gonna do. And that don't feel good. But what you expect? It this great mayor in Cleveland favorite statement used to be, it is what it is. And what it is right now, a lot of us don't like it, but we made this bed. We gotta lay in it. And moving forward, I take a hard look at leadership. I take a hard look at these apparatuses that's supposed to circle the wagons. And it's not finger pointing, it's just being involved in it. Got to get more people involved in the process. The black women, you are the greatest thing on the world in the world, and then you should feel hurt for being rejected. You should be triggered because it's not the presidential election that should trigger you. It's every time you're up for the promotion and they say, "Oh, my hands are tied." But you understand, you'll be okay, right? But I can't I I can't be mad. You're trying to get us black folks to save a country who's not really designed for us, but we are resilient people and continue to fight. And we tired of saying, get your foot off our necks, but we'll be fine. So I just wanted to say, like, there's gonna be a lot of think pieces along the way of threaded case studies of what went wrong. I think it went exactly the way that it was going to go because we have to do more time listening and addressing the issues in our community. So we'll we'll be back. Um, it's not gonna be the last one because I have fun engaging with my people, whether it's in the communities, social media, text messages, and all that. But this was a way, like this is my self care. Like I had to purge and get it out too. Like this is what I do. Like I hold it in and be like, all right, I'm gonna just say it. I'm not gonna dog like but this is my self care too. Have to talk about it. Yeah. All right. That's it. I'll be back.